What was your first reaction when you saw Happi in action?
I would say magic, in terms of all of a sudden we had a very clear way that customers could speak to us when they were needing support. We replaced the intercom widget with the Happi one, so that hasn't changed. They've still got that way. All of our emails went into one central location. Everything was just, if you look at a road where roads are going everywhere, all of a sudden they were all coming into one succinct point, and it was manageable because they were all there. You weren't missing messages that were coming in somewhere else. It was set up so everything would come into one centralized location that myself and my co-founder could see, and with a Slack integration as well, so it would come in there so we could keep tabs on that. So from going to fragmentation to clarity was just like, my first reaction was like, okay, this is great. This is like game changing.
How easy or difficult was it to have Happi set up with your existing workflow?
From a technical point of view, I'm very fortunate that my colleague and co-founder was able to manage that very easily. And in terms of just getting the email forward and getting the widget onto the site, but in terms of changing the workflow for me, I would say that obviously the technical change, but it changed my workflow as well. That all of a sudden you could be working on a task and stay on that task, and then go on at certain points through the day to sort out the customer support, and that just worked. And it worked. It was like a switch overnight from going to people, I need help right now, to when they see the widgets, like, we'll get back to you with you're able to set a time to tell them our usual responses is this. All of a sudden people are like, okay, I've sent my message, my question, they're going to come back to me in that time. So it was like a switch. It really was. I think that's very, very powerful, that a product can do that.
Did anything surprise you about how quickly it started helping?
It was like a total change in the way that we ran support, from people, demanding, obviously they're customers, we want them to support them the best we can, but there was like a demand for help when we then set the expectations in terms of like, we will come back to you in this time frame. So, okay, they knew what was going to happen. We try and beat that time frame as well. So they're like, okay, you've come back in a couple of hours, even better. So we set a timeline to respond, but we do it a lot quicker than that. So it's not as if like, oh, we're going to wait days and days and days, so we still beat that. So hopefully they're all of a sudden, from somebody being like, why are you not answering me, to be like, oh, you've come back in 2 hours instead of the 12 to 24 hour SLA. Which is, I think that's when I realized how quickly that the whole way that we deal with support had changed. It really was just like totally different, really quickly.
How did your team react when they first saw AI responding to customer messages?
People are skeptical of AI, and they're like, the first time that questions came in and there was the AI generated response, and you're like, okay, that's detailed it and worded it better than I could, but it's been done in such a way, the product has been built, I feel that it does sound like a human. It's not like a computer's talking to the customer, it sounds like us. So like that was just like, okay, wow. That was definitely an aha moment for me, that like, okay, it's given the answer for me, so I don't actually have to go off and do research or find out from our docs how this is answered, but it's also talking like one of our team. I mean, like, you couldn't really ask or expect much more than that. So like, we were very pleasantly surprised, and people in the team that were a little bit more skeptical were like, okay, well, you can't disagree with that. Is very, very impressive.
Was there a specific moment that made you say, this is actually working?
I think that moment came when we were able to look at a support question that came in from a customer. The AI generated the response, sent it to the customer, and the customer come back and said, this is perfect, thank you. I mean, that's an ideal outcome right there. And I think that was like, wow, that was a magical moment that something would be handled like that so smoothly. Obviously, we're still reviewing it. We're not in full autonomous mode yet, but I can see that that's coming pretty quickly, because pretty much all the time now the answers, and they're getting better each time. It's learning as you go. It's just, yeah, it's pretty amazing how accurate and well written the answers are.